Hey guys, I got back with the energy. Does anyone want some?
Generally in Reason to Die, there are 6 gameplay roles for survivors: the roamers, the supports, defense, scouts, and specialists. Roamers generally roam around. They use these pairs of weaponry and tend to be separated from other classes to focus on picking off specials to keep them at guard and finish objectives. They tend to also have an emotional support scout around them to help drive them around and cover for incapacitators. While roams are somewhat oppressive and definitely help fend off zombies for a little bit, roamers are very fragile and will only truly be able to live if others are doing their roles properly. Supports are similar to a medic's role. They don't tend to fully utilize weapons, instead cowering behind the other classes. They tend to be inside bases, hanging and making sure everything's intact, healing others, using grenades and molotovs, and reapplying traps for defense. While they do use their gun, it's usually to finish the job for others or keep the door closed. When played offensively, they tend to be snipers, hanging in bases and picking off specials for the team. Supports are a prime target for zombies as they basically hold the entire team together, so killing even just one could mean turning the tides entirely. They're also a very easy target due to their natural weakness alone, so supports should stick with their team as much as possible or be very careful when sniping. The defense park the bus. They tend to come in pairs and build bases. They build and maintain the sentries, set landmines, create walls and corridors with their hammers, make living spaces and defenses with the van, and overall just be some chill guys you'd love to hang with. While they build the defense, they also tend to defend the doors from zombies and bring close range weapons for that sake. The defense are pretty strong when in bases, but next to worthless outside of them. A defense should never be outside of their base unless there's an emergency or they're with a support or their team for migration. Scouts are friends to the roamer. They tend to be outside offensive and drive their van or rabbit on the open road. They hang with the roamer and act as his yin and yang, giving him the speed and durability the roamer needs to stay alive. He tends to bring mid-range weapons such as these and hip-hop between places carefree. Scouts are also relied on by defense and support to bring them to parts of the map they need without being vulnerable. Specialists are a mix of everything. They tend to hop playstyle to playstyle and often get themselves killed, but when you have a good specialist on your team, he is a very important part. They tend to bring these items and hop base to base on the map, taking care of tanks and other stronger enemies. Hilariously, the specialist's biggest weakness are the things that should be the weakest to him: regular zombies. An elemental or unexpected stalker can easily render him useless, and if a standard zombie or a pair of them get to him through those, then it's over. A general rule of thumb for being a good survivor in R2D is knowing what role you'll fulfill in a round. Design your loadout as such and don't necessarily worry about the funds. If you do a good job, the win money will be more than enough to keep progressing. Another thing that will help you is to know your damn maps. Each map in Reason to Die has its own separate playstyles, and while these 6 I just gave are generally true for most maps, there's still some punk rock maps in the crowd who want to have most players on those maps be roamers or etc. But most maps in Reason to Die will stick to this format, and thus it's the best way to rationalize everything. Another thing to know is to form relationships and happy bonds with your teammates. Remember, this is an online game. Everyone here is a real person with their own thoughts. Treat those around you with respect. Don't just scream at your defense that they're an annoying ag for not letting you through because they're only trying to help. You're gonna die to a fucking tank or hunter if you go out there anyway. And communicate with your fucking team. You can use team chat by typing T before your message. Ask support to heal you with a medkit or cake if you're low. If you're in danger, ask your scout to drive up with their van to get you out. You should also call out special types if they're approaching. You will not know how much it will genuinely mean to your support who just wants you to be happy. They will love you for this and give you all the heals you want. Another thing to remember is downtime. During the early hours of the game, most of the classes are able to just have some time to relax, communicate with each other, and decide spots. Mob spam hasn't truly started yet at the start of the round, and you have time to plan, so use it accordingly. Decide where you're going to go or get ready collecting items from boxes. If you're a new player, it's a great time to get familiar with maps. A lot of the R2D maps are semi-open world, meaning that they're quite large and expansive. During the early hours and downtime, you can explore these locations and see where you can go or set up. Again, communication is key here. If you're on the defensive side, go with your defense and supports to set up a base. If you're going specialist, scout, or roamer, memorize your support classes' bases to get in if things go bad, see the streets to plan for escape, drive in, etc. Remember that flexibility exists too. You don't just have to stay with one playstyle forever, but it is very dangerous to scout class out of nowhere. If you start as a roamer but notice you're in a lot of danger, there's no shame in hiding in your defense and support space for the rest of the round. If you're a specialist, there's no shame in hanging in the base for the entire round either. Rated as safe areas and should be used as such. Generally, 4 to 7 people should be in a base on average. Likewise, always try to save your teammates. If you see one's incapacitated, always try to save them. If you can't, communicate with your team. R2D is a game about mechanical skill and teamwork, so don't restrict yourself, but do remember your limits and love your teammates like no other. Imagine the game like a cake, and all of you survivors are bakers with extremely vital pieces of ingredients, but even if one chef goes down or doesn't stick to the plan, it ruins the taste entirely. Or if you're not sticking with your team or playing properly, it's like you're all in the middle of making this fantastic chocolate cake, and then your stoned friend comes up like, "Ooh, baby, you guys like RPG 7 and Katana Strawberry? I love RPG 7 and Katana Strawberry. Woo!" Like, dude, we're making a chocolate cake. We don't need any strawberries. What we need is really Century Oreos. Then they run over and get ran over by a car that mysteriously looks like a tank. You should also learn weapon sound. R2D has a very recognizable style of feedback, and pretty much every sound is recognizable from a distance. Sounds like bodies falling, gunfire, zombie screams, etc. is all immediately recognizable and relay the information of what is going on. It'll take a while to fully get used to and recognize everything, but once you do, you should always be listening to your surroundings. Being aware is one of the most important aspects of playing Reason to Die. Oh, and on one last note, don't think that these items can save you. They're really only for roamers and scouts, and even then they still need a friend around. If a smoker is smart enough, he'll just position himself so you fall flat on your fat ass and can't do shit. Or you get fucked over by hunters. One of the two. The only way to not get incapacitated in this game is just to be nice to your teammates so they save you, and return the favor to them when they get downed. I hope this helped you understand the basics of how to be a survivor, and you just don't jump into the action and cry about not being saved by a bullet from across the map. Thank you, au revoir, and have fun.
Bonjour, ça va? Je veux reporter un grand feu dans Springfield.
Do you speak English?
Oui, mais je prends une classe de français, comment dit-on, immersion?
We're trapped! Someone get help!
Je dois parler français et seulement français pour 6 semaines.
I can't help if I can't understand you.
Won't anyone do something?
Oui, mais c'est une très bonne classe. Dépêche-toi! Dépêchez-vous, s'il vous plaît. Le feu approche une maison de fireworks.